Namaskar, Jyoti Varma here, once again with the Dope platform to bring you at another interesting topic. Today we are all talking about the mobility and immigration. Hoping out there, all of you keeping you safe. And so here we're back here to be an inspiration and kind of give you about a few thoughts what the industry experts think about the topic on mobility and immigration. So today we have the eminent Mr. Satya Prakash with us to take us and guide us around how can this be handled and how is it in his journey that he has been able to handle when there were crises like this. And these were crises which none of us had seen here. So first of all, Mr. Satya, welcome to the show and really appreciate you taking your time from your busy schedule to add value to this. So our viewers are looking forward to hearing from you. What is it that you want to share? How is it that they can implement these in their organizations?
Uh, Thank you, Jyoti, for having me here. And thanks, Dope, for this session. And I will try to do my best so that people do benefit from this chat of ours, Jyoti. Yeah, so basically, as far as my journey concerns into global mobility and immigration, it's now been, I started, I think, somewhere around 1990. So it's been already plus 30 years and 20 years plus into global mobility. And this journey has been very interesting. And I have seen the both sides of the mobility from the government side and from the organization side. So when I say government side, yes, I worked for a couple of governments, so including US State Department, and I've seen the immigration and the visa processing from the other side. So it becomes really, really very interesting when I'm doing now job at a corporation from the other side. So I just try to match up things so that, of course, it makes a perfect business sense and we are doing things as per the regulatory requirements. So it is interesting.
That's interesting to know that you have worked with this. And I think the way things were done at that time and the way things are getting done today, there is a vast difference. Technologies come into place and things, but at least the basics that you went through that at point helps you. And that knowledge would help each one of us out here to know what is it that we could do better. While saying that on your professional, we would like to know a little peep into your personal side. So who is that who puts up with you during all these frustrations that you've taken, and how is that adding, and what is that family that gives you the core thing to come back to?
Thanks, Jyoti. And I think you answered the question yourself. The family is center of my strength, and of course, my spouse is always there. Mm-hmm. And she's the one, she really copes up with me, and not the other way around, because I get those erratic calls even in the nights, because we are almost 24/7, like one geography opens up while the other sleeps. So this is how it turns up. Mm-hmm. And one more interesting thing is even my elder daughter, who started working with one of the Indian MNCs, big ones, Infosys. So like she's picked up father's job, so she is into mobility. So I never even dreamt that she will pick up a career like that.
So somewhere you've done an impression on her. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So Satya, with that, so since you're so passionate about it and your daughter has taken your footsteps, I think the next question, what I need to ask you is, how important do you think is mobility and immigration department for an organization? And is it important? If yes, why? Because I always thought HR could handle some of it, travel guys could handle some of it, the finance guys could handle some of it. But is it required that we have a strong mobility and an immigration department, and why so?
So Jyoti, today in a business defined by talent, global mobility is more important than ever. So right, it helps put the best people on the job wherever that job needs to be. It helps our leadership teams understand people better, wherever those people might be or wherever they might be based. And it helps us deliver better services to our client. Having said that, the world's markets are constantly evolving and the regulatory requirements, particularly regarding the employees, are growing increasingly complex as more countries catch up with the economies. And we read it every time that, say, for example, I think everybody looks up to US when the immigration talks are there. So what is happening over there? So every fortnight or every week, we read something of the regulations which have changed or which are up for change. And those changes are drastically. So what business needs to do has to constantly keep pace with those changing environment. And so that may be true for the US, but it may not be true for the other countries. So typically what works for business and employees in one country simply doesn't work in another. And the other challenge what has been the ability to secure work authorization in another country is always a barrier to mobility. And the governance and the compliance have become more and more focal. So in yesteryears, when we talk about, maybe when I started mobility about 20 years back, things used to be so simple, and you rightly called, and nobody even thought or talked about what mobility is. We were just called as travel desk, right? So give them a passport and they will get you a visa stamped, and that is what the mobility function was looked like, and that's it. So it has changed. So that is not mobility, that is a part of travel, I will always say. So mobility has really picked up, and it has, what I will say is, today the mobility has taken up precedence in discussions in the boardrooms. So whether you want to set up any business in the new country, I think mobility is the first question being asked, is how or when can we deploy people in a new country, right? How soon can we do that? So even if the business takes a decision that they are going to do business, but without mobility's help, they will not be able to turn a stone around that. So in my view, three objectives of having a global mobility department would be: the mobility would act as a strategic business partner. So the global mobility will help plan and execute major business initiatives. So educating the organization about the various compliance risks, helping in establishment of resource deployment timelines, and calculating accurate cost estimates for any deployment of the people. So this is what global mobility will do as a strategic business partner. The second thing is, it will help organization being compliant. So whatever nature of our business is, whatever the volume of our business is, until we are compliant, this is going to disrupt business in various other way. Mm-hmm. So we really have to look at it in that sense, is whatever steps we are taking, are we compliant or not? Because regulatories are now very careful. Now they also work with technology. They have a lot of information, and with that they will be questioning. So the global mobility program, if you have it, it will help you solve this issue. And in addition to that, the mobility will help accurate calculation of timely tax reporting and withholding, ensuring the employees hold appropriate work authorization, and whatever documents are being presented for the work authorization, they are in compliant with the regulatory requirements, and the renewals are managed timely, so on and so forth. And the third piece, what I would say the global mobility program solves for any organization, is to streamline processes and have flexible policies. So these policies of people traveling across geographies, whether it is related to their social security, whether it is related to the benefits, whether it is related to relocations, so on and so forth, or moving them to another country after a period of time. So it really, really helps. So it is not that you can have one standard policy across globe, because the employment laws also change from country to country. So one really has to have a specialized department which looks into all these factors, and that is where I feel the global mobility is one of the most needed departments in any organization.
Interesting, very interesting. Actually, you've taken us through, in a nutshell, the importance as well as how we could do that. So my next question, which was that the best steps to be implemented in an organization to have an agile, you almost have answered it in this as such. So with that, then I will straight away move into the COVID-19 has changed a lot for the organizations today. There is a whole lot of immigration programs which are changing on a day-to-day basis. So how is it that we can be working in hand with the representative countries to get this into streamline? What is it that you would like to add here?
See, yes, the COVID situation has taught us so many things, and that has become the new normal right now for everyone, including the mobility. So the way immigration has evolved is like people were stuck into various geographies, people were stuck into various countries, and nobody was available to assist them. And with the regulatory requirements, they were so certain countries did what was they relaxed certain norms. Certain countries were able to take applications online if they had that infrastructure. Certain countries did automatic renewals if the people were there in that particular geography during that particular time. However, the basic thumb rule of applying for any extensions which were due or anything which had expired, so everything continued. So some countries were even good as, okay, we will not have the signed application, we will accept as a copy of that application, but you need to keep those records. So having said that, I will say it became more and more complex. And even the keeping records and keeping a track of the employees became so challenging. And one key issue which people did not realize is, of course, we know that during the COVID, every organization asked employees to work from home or wherever they were stuck, they should continue to work so that it doesn't impact business as well as it doesn't impact employees' earnings. So the tricky situation, what happened is, because employees' tax is related to wherever you live. For example, if you were stuck in the UK and you were working in the US, maybe you went for a holiday, but you were stuck in the UK. And the tax laws, then you will be liable to pay taxes in, say, UK. Do you realize that? So this is what exactly would happen. And if your organization is not set up in UK to do business, then you have created a corporate tax liability in terms of PE risk. So this has become so complicated and interesting. So like this has thrown up so many things. And until you have a structured program like mobility, so these key issues will not get addressed. And down the line, when the regulators come asking for certain tax amount, we will be surprised. Hey, how come we are paying taxes in UK? We don't even have an entity.
That was a very interesting. Even it got my thoughts growing on it. You've gone on a vacation, but you're forced to work after that because you're not able to come back. So in principle, the tax law says that wherever you're working, you need to pay that because you're using the amenity. But actually, you're not supposed to be there working. Wow, that's very interesting. I don't think I envy you guys your job, because other than knowing what is the rules now, you need to know the taxation laws. You need to know how am I going to work with this. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
really
so
interesting.
I always say the global mobility program is a mini HR in itself. So like it does all of it, or it thinks about all of it.
So I've been in the corporate world for about 27 years. And I think it's the mobility and immigration is something which I've heard it with the recent 10 years, not before that. Okay, 8 to 9 years is where I've been hearing. But in the last 2-3 years, it has picked up so much that there is so much of importance given. And a lot of people whom I knew were in the travel or were in the HR have moved totally into this role to add value onto the mobility. So now with few things that you've said, it actually makes sense to me to say that, wow, that is a full-fledged role in itself that is required. And I'm sure our viewers also will be thinking that once they hear to these.
So even as I said earlier, now the regulators have a lot of requirement, and even see the politicians will exist in every country, and they need to protect the local people, the local employment. So these regulations will be very dynamic, they will be changing, and they will be person-specific as well, right? So we really need to be very, very agile in terms of mobility to meet those requirements, to meet those regulatory requirements so that we are compliant in all geographies all the time. So yes.
So with that, I would, since it's such an important role, and there's so many things, though you did say that it comes to the boardroom and the first decisions are taken there, but I would like to ask a few things to you, saying that what is in your view on the advisory for the relocation program, and what should it include? When I put this question, I'm basically asking, what is it that you're seeing the management or the strategic partners out there in your companies, respective companies, what is it that they need to take on to make sure that this department is strengthened and it has the agility to work and change as per the requirements as and when the need arises?
Okay, so the relocation programs must have the ability of a workforce to move seamlessly from one country to another and succeed, both in terms of business and personal life. So therefore, when I say this, in my personal opinion, the relocation program must include the cultural acclimation. So having this program will teach global workers about the local business practices and interpersonal relationship. And then very important piece is the employment laws. So whether are we adhering, we may be very compliant in our own geographies, wherever we have our headquarters, but are we following the employment laws in the country where we are deploying people? So that becomes one of the key areas to look into. And then the global mobility program must always have global talent management. So when we are moving people, for a business to be successful in retaining a talent, we need to plan their career and develop those programs so that it encourages employees to be in that geography, and then we are able to hire the right talent. And then of course, the relocation program must have the immigration. We talked about it. It's one of the key factors. And then the other factors which I touched upon was, of course, it should touch upon the income tax and social security obligations, because these are very, very complex in each and every geography. So as soon as the person is on the move, his or her tax obligation starts ticking, and it is typically depends on the number of days you spend in a particular geography. So all that has to be accounted. And then this program must also include the payroll, so the global payroll. So it is not that one component what you have in a salary structure in a particular country will fit into the another, because everything is related to the local employment law, which I touched earlier. So we must have a global payroll program into this. And then, of course, to retain and have a talent in the geography where we want to work, so the pension and the other benefits must be up to the market, and this is where the global mobility helps. And of course, the relocation logistics when we are doing about. So these are some of the key things or key factors we must keep in mind when we are defining what our relocation program should include. I hope it answers your question, Jyoti.
Yes, it kind of did. And I also say, I think because of some of the things that you highlighted, I feel today the diversity and inclusion is becoming an important part of this whole thing. And because you also mentioned looking at the right talent, right fit. So that is another department which works very closely with your department to make sure that the right fit comes into this. With that, I would like to add on, do you think currently, because there is so much of data churning which is happening and everything, so the tools which is there and can be supported and managed through the AI and other things, are there any other tools which are there to support you? How is it that you can streamline and make sure that you have your required information and data at your fingertips?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, Jyoti, and one of the key things which I always try to implement while we do the mobility programs. So yes, there are many good tools readily available in the market. I would not name particular ones because I'm not propagating for one, but
yeah,
yes,
that's
of
fine.
course,
that's
of course, there are many tools. So while we are looking at these tools, so what we must keep in mind is some of the key factors to evaluate is what are the number of employees we are trying to relocate in a year on an average, and the structure of the global mobility programs across centers, are they centralized or they work independently? And then what is our policy of relocation, short term, long term, so on and so forth. So when you talk about that, when we are evaluating these tools, so we have to keep these factors in mind, right? So whether we have a business commuters only, or we are sending mostly people on work assignment, which is more than a year or so. So these are some of the factors, and initially the tools you identify, if you answer some of these questions which I raised, so it will help you do that. And it actually helps business. And of course, you talked about the AI, and these tools give you kind of a reporting where you can know what is the trend of your approvals, what is the trend of your people staying in a particular geography. Or from the business side is, for example, they would know, for my particular client, I have these many people whose permits are going to expire in these period of time, and this is our revenue versus the cost of deployment. So it can give you so many insights to help business take informed decisions.
That's interesting, because so if I can just add a small sub question to this, as a mobility person, what do you think today is missing in these tools that you have evaluated till now? And what is it that ask of a corporate would be from somebody out there working on this tool, if they can include these? Because out there, the people who are listening and doing, they would also come to know what is the requirement and what is the ask of the corporate. So is there anything that would help by adding a couple more into this tools, which would help you to sustain and work on it much better?
Yeah, absolutely. So what the tools need to do is, I've seen these couple of tools. Some will be typically relocation specific, some will be immigration specific, some will do computation of your taxes, or some will do payrolls. But the challenge what we face is these are not integrated, or they don't talk to each other. And then when we work on these, we work in silos, we pull out a report and try to do the AI ourselves. So these needs to be integrated, not with each other, but also with the core HRMS systems, so that the data is flowing the way we would want to. And so this is what recommendation or suggestion I would give to integrate all these.
That's a very interesting suggestion. Like what you said, I'm sure a lot of time and also the quality of the output would be much better if it could happen. So with this, Satya, I would like to kind of put the last question. What is it that you would like to give as a message to our viewers, maybe in a short, about mobility and the way forward, from your sense and perspective on it, a short message to our team?
Okay, so the only thing I can say is there are no shortcuts in mobility. Be compliant. Don't hesitate to consult. Even if you think that you know the answer, don't hesitate to consult. And invest only in one thing, that is technology, that should help you, because a lot depend on this function, and for this function to work, it should be enabled by technology.
Wow. That's a very strong message, but I think it's the apt message for the time, especially that we are in now, where there's so much of confusion going on. So thank you so much for Satya for really spending this time, especially on a weekend. Thank you once again. With a big namaste from each one of us in the team, we would like to thank you. And I'm sure the viewers will enjoy each and everything what you've said. And if they want to get in touch and give, I'm sure the message that you said is there, that you're available for them to, if they need to understand something more. That is a very strong message. Thank you once again, Satya.
Thank you, Jyoti.